Hello everyone. Good Shepherds High School, Belapur. Welcome you all for online learning session. Standard 6th, subject General Science, lesson number 3, topic diversity in living things and their classifications. Children, first question, can you recall in which spheres of the earth do living things exist? Living thing exist in all the three spheres of the earth. Which are the three spheres? Hydrosphere, lithosphere and atmosphere. The geographical conditions at different places on the earth are very different, children. We find that living thing exists in all these diverse conditions. When we live in a certain place, we adjust to the conditions there. Various types of living things have survived because of their ability to adjust themselves to the conditions in their surroundings. Children, geographical condition in different regions on the earth are very different. Living things inhabiting these regions, they try to adjust those conditions in an attempt to survive. Okay? Now, can you tell, are the plants and animals that you have seen all alike? Are they same? No. The plants and animals are of a great variety. There is diversity in shape, body structure, color, types, etc. among the different animals and plants. Correct, no? So that's why diversity means all are not in a equal, all are not in a, of equal shape, body structure. Are they all equal? No. So we find lot of diversities among animals and plants. Okay, children? So diversity in plants, I'll read the paragraph and then I'll explain you all. Various types of plants are found in many places around us. Some plants like grass are short while others are tall and have a canopy. Some plants grow underwater while while some others float on water. We find that some plants grow even in desert. Moreover, we find that there is a lot of variety in the same type of plant. For example, there are different varieties of rice or wheat, different types of roses and mangoes of different flavors. Some plants grow even without stems, leaves or roots. So these are very different from ordinary plants. Let us study this diversity among plants. First, what are diversity in plants? See, children, in plants there is a great diversity. First, short varieties like grasses, then tall trees, then submerged plants means underwater plants, floating plants like a lotus, and desert plants. So there are a lot of diversity, right? So in plants have been divided according to their food process and all. Plants make their own food in sunlight, that you all know. Such plants are called autotrophic plants. For example, the hibiscus, pomegranate, periwinkle, etc. These are the plants who make their own food. Some plants like funguses, loranthus, dodder use other plants for food and are said to be heterotrophic. Okay? They cannot prepare their own food. They depend on other plants. Next, plants like the pitcher plant even consume insects. So they are called as insectivorous. Example of insectivorous plants are, one is pitcher plant and Drosera. Okay, children. So these are the diversity in plants. Okay. One more thing, children. Fungi are not plants. Okay. Fungus is a singular and fungi are plural. They are placed in a separate kingdom called fungi. Their mode of nutrition is saprotrophic, means that is they are decomposers, and thus they are not plants. Fungi never grow in drinking water. Okay, children. The method of scientific classification of plants was developed by the scientist Carolus Linnaeus. Okay, children. Now we'll see the structure of a plant. See, the structure of a plant. Plant structure can generally be divided into two parts: the stem, which grows above the ground, and the root, which grows below the ground surface. Okay, children. The roots, stem, and leaves are the main parts of plants. From time to time, plants bear flowers for reproduction. Flowers are transformed into fruits. Fruits have seeds, and seeds give rise to new plants. Okay, this is the way how plants grow. Now they have explained here each part of the plant here, the structure of a plant. No, see, first flower. This is the most attractive part of a plant. It is connected to the stem by a stalk, which may be long or short. A flower has a typical color and shape. The flower is an important means of reproduction. Next is leaf. The leaf is flat. There are types of leaves here: simple leaf and compound leaf. Simple leaf, example hibiscus. Compound leaf, example rose. Okay, children. The leaf is a flat. It plays an important role in the production of food. It's a kitchen of a plant. Leaf. Leaves are mainly of two types: simple and compound leaves. Next is the stem. The height, shape, and size of a plant depends upon the stem. The stem carries out the functions of production, conduction, and storage of food. In some plants, it has the function of reproduction. It gives support to other parts of the plants. This is the explanation of stem. The fruit. Fruits have different shapes. Fruits contain one or more seeds. The pods of beans and peas are actually fruits. Now, root. Roots hold the soil firmly and anchor the plant. The main function of the root are to absorb and transport water and nutrients from the soil. The roots of the carrot and radish also store food. There are two types of roots: taproot and fibrous root. Okay, children. Now, need for classification of plants. Up to now, information about lakhs of plants have been collected. While studying the diversity in plants, they are classified for the sake of convenience on the basis of the similarities and differences in their structure, their organs, and their other characteristics. See, this is a scientist. The scientist Carolus Linnaeus made the first scientific classification of plants. Initially, it was his method of classification that was used by all. Now, structure of plants, children, let me tell you all. The parts that grow below the ground surface is roots, and their properties is holding soil firmly, they give support, then absorption of nutrients and water, transport, storage. Now you will say storage how? So carrot and radish are roots only, no children? Okay, and types of roots are taproot and fibrous roots. Okay, taproots, example hibiscus, banyan, and fibrous roots, onion and grass. Now children, this observe and discuss, this is an activity we will do in the class. Now classification of plants. We can classify, notice the differences in the shape and height of the plants in our surroundings. It is easy to classify the plants on the basis of this observation. See the diversity in plants, children. Correct, no? Grasses are short, then plants and trees, then big trees, tall trees, short trees, like that. There are diversity in plants. Now, question: can you tell what are the similarities between a mango, a banyan, and a tamarind tree? Children, mango, banyan, and tamarind are huge trees. Got it? Now, trees. Some plants grow tall. Their stem or trunk is hard and strong. They have branches at some height above the ground. They bear flowers and fruit for many years. Such plants are called trees. Trees are tall, big, and perennial. You know, perennial means what? Perennial means that the plant, the tree, that they live for many years. Okay, children? So, in classification of plants, first is trees. So, what you understood that about the trees? That trees grow tall, their stem and or trunk is hard and strong. They have branches at some height above the ground. They bear flowers, fruits for many years. And such plants are called trees. Trees are tall, big, and perennial. Perennial means they live for many years. What are the similarities between the hibiscus, oleander, and lantana plants? These plants are shrubs that do not grow tall. So we'll learn about shrubs now. Some plants grow close to the ground. They give out branches very close to the ground. They are shorter and smaller than the trees, but they have a thick and hard stem. So example of shrubs: the oleander, hibiscus, lantana, coranti, and rose are shrubs that may grow up to 2 to 3 meters. Got it, children? Next, herbs. What are the similarities between the fenugreek and periwinkle plants? Fenugreek and periwinkle are small herbs. Now we'll read about herbs. How How you will describe herbs? Herbs grow 1 to 1.5 meters tall. The stems of herbs are green and quite flexible as compared to those of trees and bushes. Herbs may live for a few months or up to 2 years. Okay, so according to the size and height of their stems, plants can be classified into three types: trees, shrubs, and herbs. Got it, children? They are they have been classified according to their size and height of their stems. Got it? Have you seen vines like the pumpkin, the railroad creeper, cowley, watermelon, or the grapevine? How do they grow? Now, these vines, we have seen some creepers. They always grow with some support. So, pumpkin and all, see how they are taking help of trees, big trees. Got it? They are creepers and climbers, we call it. Okay, I will read about vines. Some vines need vertical support for growing, while some others spread on the ground. Climbers like the money plant have aerial roots. Okay, have you seen the cucumber tendrils that look like a spring? Cucumber, see this. Or what use could they be? Touch the stem of any vines. What do you feel? What do you feel, children? They are very soft. If you press it hard, it may get hurt. Got it? The stem of a creeper is very flexible, soft, and green. It grows rapidly with the help of a support. Got it, children? Climbers. So, vines are creepers and climbers, we can call them. Got it? Next. For how many years do crops like bajra, wheat, corn, radish, marigold live? These all the above plants, they survive for about 1 year. Got it, children? So now we will classify according to their period of their life cycle. The life cycle of plants like jowar, sunflower is completed in 1 year. So these plants are called annuals. Life cycle is completed in only 1 year. So example are jowar and sunflower. Okay, children? The life cycle of plants like the carrot, beetroot is of 2 years. So they are called as biennials. Example, carrot, beetroot. Then shrubs like the hibiscus and oleander and trees like mango and gulmohar live for several years and bear flowers and fruit. So they are called perennials. So children, according to the period of their life cycle, plants are classified as annuals for 1 year, biennials for 2 years, perennials for many years. Got it, children? Next, to which part of plants are butterflies and insects attracted? Yes, butterflies and insects are attracted towards the flowers of the plants. Okay, so plants that bear flowers are called flowering plants, while the plants that never bear flowers are called non-flowering plants. So non-flowering plants may not have organs like roots, stem, leaves. Okay, children? Now, see this. The world's largest flower is found in Indonesia. The diameter of the flower of the plant Rafflesia arnoldi is about 1 meter. The world's smallest flower is of the plant called Wolffia or duckweed. Its diameter is as small as 0.5 mm. Okay? Now, children, use your brain power. What type of plants are toadstools and mushrooms? Toadstool and mushrooms are example of fungi. Okay, children? According to old system of classification, fungi were included under kingdom Plantae or kingdom of plants. But since they are not autotrophic, they cannot be included under plants. They are decomposers and hence have saprotrophic mode of nutrition. Next, what type of plant is the fig? Fig is a huge tree. Its branches spread making a canopy. Next, do ferns, algae, money plant bear flowers? Ferns, algae, money plant are non-flowering plants. So they do not bear flowers. Got it, children? Okay. Next, can you tell where does the pomegranate shrub grow? Yes, children. Where does the pomegranate shrub grow? What is the answer? The shrub of pomegranate grows till the height of 6 to 10 meters in orchards or farms. The pomegranate is cultivated in orchards in western Maharashtra. Where does the lotus grow? Lotus is an aquatic plant and it is seen submerged in the water. Its roots are under water while leaves float on the water surface. Next, where do bulrushes, the railroad creepers, grow? Bulrushes grow near water source. Where there is water, they grow there. Usually it is seen growing on the banks of the water bodies. Railroad creepers are seen growing on the compounds of houses and on the roadsides. It cannot grow without support due to its green and flexible stem. Where does the dodder plant grow? The dodder plant is a parasitic plant. It is seen growing on a host plant. Host means the main plant. It can absorb all required nutrients from the host plant. Got it, children? Means these are the plants what we read are grown according to the places, according to their habitat. Okay, we see different plants growing in different places around us. Plants can be classified according to their habitat or the place where they grow. Land, water, marshy areas, deserts, they grow. No, plants grow. Even a big tree are the various habitats of plants. Okay children, see habitats of plant, a desert. Now you tell me, why does the water hyacinth float on water? Yes children, what is the answer? Why does the water hyacinth float on water? The stem of water hyacinth is soft and spongy. The leaves of hyacinth are also specially modified to help the plant float. Due to these adaptations, water hyacinth floats on water. This can come for the exam children. Next, why is the stem of the cactus fleshy? Cactus is a desert plant. In order to survive in a desert, its body is highly modified. The leaves of cactus are reduced and converted into thorns. Therefore, stem takes up the function of photosynthesis. Other trees you saw, what photosynthesis takes place in the leaf, but here on a cactus, photosynthesis takes place in the stem. It thus turns green and fleshy. What different criteria are used to classify plants? Children, now we have read, na? There are four different criteria used to classify plants. The shape and height of the stem. According to this criteria, trees, shrubs, herbs and creepers have been classified. According to the lifespan, life cycle of the plants, they are classified as annual, biennial and perennial. And whether the plants bear flowers or they do not bear, so according to this criteria, plants are classified as flowering plants and non-flowering plants. According to the habitat, they have been classified into land, desert, water, marshy area plants. Okay, plants can be classified into land, desert, water, marshy area plants. Okay children, now these were the diversity of plants. Now we'll go to the diversity and classification in animals. Okay children, different animals have developed different shapes to survive in the environment. There is a great variety in the body structure of animals too. The amoeba that cannot be seen with our eyes, the huge elephant, the small snail, the fish that swims in water, a kite that flies high in the sky, but kite means not that kite, it's a bird, butterflies that flit around flowers, a house lizard that crawls on a wall, are all animals. Each has different characteristics. Animals have body parts like a head, a neck, a torso, a tail, and limbs for movement. They have various organ systems which carry on various functions inside their body. In this respect too, there is a lot of diversity in animals. Got it children? Next, what are the differences in the body structure of animals like a snake, a lizard, a tiger, a fish, an eagle, a hen, a crab, a housefly, an earthworm, a crocodile and a grasshopper? See, what are the differences you can see? Out of all the above animals, like tiger is a mammal, it is having head, neck, torso, so like that. Some are reptiles, snake, lizard, crocodile, they are like reptiles. So we have been classified, no, according to their structure and all, children. Yes. Now see, we see a variety in animals with respect to their food as well. Since animals depend on others for their food, they are found in places where food is available. Yes, different animals have different methods of obtaining and eating food. These two leads to differences in their body structure. So there are diversity in animals. Oh. I will read for you all the diversity in animals and their classification. Okay, children. According to the number of cells, unicellular animals means having a single cell. Example, amoeba. Okay, children. And multicellular animals means having many cells. Example, man, frog, crow, etc. Then according to the vertebral column means backside, backbone. Invertebrata and vertebrata are the types. Invertebrata means having no vertebral column are invertebrates. Example, earthworm, snail, starfish, they don't have the backbone. But vertebrata having vertebral column are vertebrates. Animals those who are having vertebral column are called vertebrates. Example, fish, bird, man. Now according to their according to the mode of reproduction. Now some are oviparous, some are viviparous. Oviparous means those who lay eggs. Example, snakes, birds. And viviparous, that is they give birth to young ones, means mammals. Example, mammals. Okay, children. Now see, here I will read for you all. Animals with a vertebral column are those, and those without it form two groups known as vertebrates and invertebrates. Like snakes, birds, fish and kangaroos are, as also humans are vertebrate animals because they are having their vertebral column. Animals such as snail, cockroaches, earthworms, they do not have a vertebral column, means their backbone, and therefore they are invertebrate animal. Name some animals which lay eggs and others which give birth to their young ones. You all know, hen, duck, they lay eggs. Hen, and other birds, flying birds. And which animal which give young ones? Dog, cow, like that. We have learned that the producing another living thing like oneself is called reproduction. Okay, a hen lays eggs and hatches them, correct? And after few days the young chicks hatch out of the eggs. So they are oviparous. Oviparous, there are two types they classify, no? Those who lay eggs, they are oviparous animals. After a cow gives birth to a calf. Before that, the calf grows within the cow's body. According to the mode of reproduction, animals are classified into two types: oviparous, which lay eggs, and viviparous animals which give birth to their young ones. Okay, children. Next, where are the animals, namely a horse, a bear, a tortoise, an alligator, a fish, a deer and a frog to be found? Where you will find these animals? Horses and bear and all in the jungle, alligator in the water, or fish in the water, correct? Now we will see how they have been classified according to their habitat, means where they live. Animals are usually classified into terrestrial and aquatic animals. However, animals like a frog, salamander, toad live in both the places, like land also and water also. Therefore, they are called as amphibious animals. Okay. Animals, those who live on the land, they are called terrestrial animals, and animals, those who live in water, they are called aquatic animals. Okay, children. A kite, an eagle, a crow, a butterfly, a honeybee all fly in the air, though they live in different places. Though they live in different places, these animals are said to have an aerial mode of life. Okay, now use your brain power. What are the different criteria used to classify animals? Children, there are classification have been made. First, cell structure. In that, unicellular and multicellular animals are there. Second is vertebral column. In that, vertebrates and invertebrates. And third, method of reproduction. There are oviparous and viviparous. Oviparous those who lay eggs, and viviparous those who give birth. And fourth is habitat. According to the habitat means animals, those who live on land, they are called as terrestrial animals. Those who live in both on the trees, on the land and on the in the water, they are called as amphibians. Those who fly in the air, they are called aerial, and those who live in water, they are called aquatic. So the different criteria have been classified for animals. So there are 4 classification: cellular structure, vertebral column, method of reproduction, and habitat. Okay, children. Now, always remember, in the living world, a lot of diversity is seen, both in animals and plants. So every plant and animal is unique, they are special. We should all make efforts to conserve, to protect this diversity in the living world. What we have learned: plants are classified on the basis of their height and the shape of stems, period of life cycle, and habitat. And animals are classified on the basis of the cell structure, vertebral column, method of reproduction, and habitat. Okay, children. Now we'll come on the exercise. Match the pairs. It's very easy. Yes, children. Chalo, first, amphibian means those who live on land and water. Frog. Vertebrate means those who are having backbone. Monkey, correct? And with scale, snake. And fish with scales. Okay. Now, who is the odd one out? Okay. Fungus, mushroom, chrysanthemum, Spirogyra. What will be the odd one out? Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum is a flowering plant, and others are not. Fungus, mushroom, Spirogyra, they are non-flowering plants. Next, mango, banyan, palm, chickpea. So palm. Why palm? Because palm grows straight without branches, and these others are having branches. Next, grape, orange, lemon, hibiscus. So which is the odd man out? Hibiscus. Why? Hibiscus is a flower and others are fruit. Next, sunflower, banyan, jowar, bajra. Banyan. Why? Banyan is a perennial plant. You know? Others are not perennial. Next, guava, radish, carrot, beetroot. Guava. Why? Because guava is a fruit and others are roots. Next, deer, fish, man, worms. You can say fish. Others are terrestrial. Correct, no? Next, what is the difference between children? I will read flowering plants, non-flowering plants. Okay, I will explain you all two points. For flowering plants bear flowers, non-flowering plants do not bear flowers. Okay, next, second point, flowering plants have root, stem, leaves, etc. Non-flowering plants may not have root, stem, leaves, etc. Next, a tree and a shrub. A tree. A tree grows tall. A shrub does not grow tall. A tree is large in size. A shrub is small in size. Okay. Next, vertebrates, invertebrates. Vertebrates have vertebral column in their body. Invertebrates do not have vertebral column in their body. Vertebrates have well formed organs. Invertebrates do not have well formed organs. Okay, so there are examples also, you can add it for the third point. Vertebrate examples are fish, snake, birds, frog, men. Invertebrates are example amoeba, snail, insects, earthworm. Okay, now true or false? The snail is an aquatic animal. False. Second, amphibians can live in air and in water. False. The function of the brain is well developed in vertebrate animals. True. The amoeba is a multicellular animal. False. Okay. Now write two names of each. This you can write by your own children. Okay. Next, question number 6. Answer the following. What are the parts of a plant? Roots. Answer. Roots, stem, leaves, flowers and fruits are the parts of a plant. What are the functions of the roots? First, roots hold the soil firmly. Second, absorption of the water and nutrients from the soil is done by roots. Third, roots transport the absorbed water and nutrients to the stem. And fourth, roots support the plant. Next, why is it necessary to classify living things? Answer. First point, there is a vast diversity among the living things present on the earth. Second, for identifying these living things and also for studying the characteristics of them, we need to classify them properly in a scientific way. Next, what are the criteria used to classify living things? While classifying living things, the following criteria are: first, structure of the living things; second, different organs present; third, similarities and differences between them; fourth, other characteristics; fifth, habitat. Next, tell some characteristics of creepers. Children, you can write from the creepers column. Okay, the stem of a creeper is very flexible and soft and green. It grows rapidly with the help of a support. Okay, next, explain the characteristics of herbs with two examples. Children, this from the herb column you can write it down. This herbs grow 1 to 1.5 meters tall. Correct? The stems of herbs are green and quite flexible as compared to those of trees and bushes. Herbs may live for a few months or up to 2 years. Okay. Next, on the basis of which criteria will you classify plants and animals? First, criteria for classifying plants are as follows. A. Height. B. Shape of stems. C. Period of life cycle. D. Whether they produce flowers or they are non-flowering. E. Habitat. So this was the criteria for classifying plants. Now, criteria for classifying animals. A. Cell structure. B. Vertebral column. C. Method of reproduction. D. Habitat. Okay. Next, what protects the bodies of animals? Answer. Some animals have protective covering on their body. Some animals have a layer of scales. Some, like turtles and tortoise, have plates. Some animals show behavior pattern that protects them. Some are provided with horns, nails, or sharp teeth for protecting themselves against their predators, shikar. Okay, and then children, draw figures, draw diagram. Okay, draw the figure of a plant to show the part names, root, stem, leaves in it. Okay, this. Here our lesson gets over. Okay, children, thank you.